tin cans. It's not that simple. I can't rent this place with garbage in it, Mrs. Milligan complained. All right, Jeremy said desperately. I'll rent it. You? She asked, suspicious. Yes, Jeremy nodded quickly. I'll give you double what you're getting. I'll be up later with the check. Thank you, Mrs. Mulligan. Footsteps echoed in the hallway, and Edgar appeared in the doorway, breathless and missing his jacket. He's escaped, Jeremy realized, turning to face him. Excuse me, Mrs. Milligan muttered, squeezing past them. Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Witherspoon, Jeremy called out. Should I call the cops? Mrs. Milligan asked from the corridor. No, Jeremy yelled back. Everything's going to be fine. You got a handkerchief? Oh yes, Edgar said, reaching into his pocket. Yes, right away. Thanks. That lady had me dressed so fast, I left mine behind. Mr. Witherspoon, I don't know how to begin to apologize, Jeremy said, his voice filled with genuine humility. Nothing in my training had prepared me for a case like yours. Well, nice meeting you, Edgar said, picking up a small suitcase from behind the door. Where are you going? Jeremy asked, sudden panic gripping him. Away, finally, after 11 years, Edgar smiled broadly. But what about tough? Jeremy asked, gesturing to the massive, silent machine filling the room. The voice spoke to me while I was in your hospital, Edgar explained, his eyes shining with excitement. It said, Edgar, have you ever been to Miami? I said no, but I used to think it would be a nice place to retire. Go for it, the voice said. You're off duty, Jeremy whispered, the weight of the revelation sinking in. You mean all this isn't necessary anymore? Sure it is, Edgar said cheerfully. It's absolutely essential. The world still has to be kept in balance. So who's going to? And look, it needs adjusting already. That's it. Now, if I can just get a ping-pong ball in there by 7:13. Well, I guess we solved that little problem. I'd get cracking if I was you. Impossible, Jeremy stammered, looking at the complex web of strings and tin cans. I refuse. Jeremy, really, you'll grow to like it, Edgar said warmly, patting the doctor on the shoulder. Give it a chance. So long. Don't take any wooden nickels. Unless you really need them, of course. Mr. Witherspoon, Jeremy called out, but the old man was already gone, his footsteps fading down the stairs. Jeremy stood alone in the apartment. The silence was broken by a sudden, ominous creaking from the center of the room. A small weight shifted, and a tiny bell began to ring frantically. No, Jeremy muttered, his eyes widening as he looked at the watch on his wrist. A tambourine. I have to find a tambourine right away. Can you help me? Do you know where I can find a tambourine? If in the next few months you notice that there's been a spate of catastrophes, or things are just not going right, remember that Edgar Witherspoon's replacement is learning how to make some precise adjustments. Don't worry, his education will not last long, and then you'll have a chance to make a difference. Perhaps you might give thanks to a physician whose practice extends to the well-being of the entire planet. Dr. Jeremy Sinclair offers a unique form of preventative medicine, found only in the Twilight Zone. The office of Dr. Jeremy Sinclair was a sanctuary of dark mahogany, soft leather, and the quiet, reassuring hum of a professional air conditioning unit that kept the humid city air at bay. For years, Dr. Sinclair had sat in his high-backed leather chair, listening to the fractured narratives of human existence. He was a man of science, a practitioner of psychiatry who believed that every human mind, no matter how tangled its pathways, could be understood through the careful application of clinical methodology. He believed in order, in logic, and in the fundamental predictability of the universe. On this particular afternoon, however, the order of his office was gently disrupted by the presence of Mistress Milligan. She was a woman who seemed to be entirely composed of nervous energy, her hands fluttering like trapped sparrows as she clutched her handbag. She leaned forward, her eyes wide with a mixture of exasperation and genuine, deep-seated worry. He is crazy, she said, her voice trembling slightly but carrying a sharp edge of conviction. That is what he is. A loony, a nutcase, A genuine wacko. Uncle Edgar is always looking for things. Dr. Sinclair leaned back, placing his fingertips together in a classic gesture of professional attentiveness. He offered her a calm, reassuring smile, the kind of smile designed to lower the blood pressure of anxious relatives. "And what sort of things does your uncle look for, Mistress Milligan?" Mistress Milligan let out a heavy sigh, shaking her head. "Things like 3 paper clips or a chrome coat hanger, or 1 patent leather tap shoe. He rummages through trash cans. He goes to garbage dumps. He is always bothering my other tenants. One day it is bicycle spokes, then it is baseball cards. And who do the tenants complain to? Yours truly. He will not let anybody into his apartment, not even his own niece. All that junk he is collecting, it is a fire trap. He could hurt himself, and other people, namely me. He needs your help, Doctor." Dr. Sinclair nodded slowly, making a mental note of the symptoms. Hoarding behaviors, social withdrawal, obsessive collection of seemingly worthless objects. It was a common enough profile for elderly individuals experiencing cognitive decline or seeking to exert control over an increasingly chaotic world through the accumulation of physical items. "Yesterday," Mistress Milligan continued, her voice rising slightly in pitch, "he wanted a yo-yo. By 6 o'clock in the evening. And last week it was pieces of broken dolls. Heads, arms, legs. Please do something, Doctor. Please, for his sake. And ours, of course." She paused, catching her breath, and looked at Dr. Sinclair with pleading eyes. The psychiatrist felt a familiar tug of professional duty. It was clear that the family was at their wits' end, and the uncle, whatever his internal state, was causing significant distress to his immediate circle. "I understand your concern, Mistress Milligan," Dr. Sinclair said softly. "It sounds like your uncle is carrying a heavy burden of eccentric behaviors. I will certainly look into the matter. Where can I find him?" "His bell does not work," she replied, rising from her chair and adjusting her coat.
"Ah, Mistress Milligan."
"I think he is disconnected it. Down there, in the basement of the tenement building on Elm Street." "Thank you, Mistress Milligan," Dr. Sinclair said, rising to show her to the door. "I will make a visit to Elm Street this very afternoon. Let us see if we can understand what is happening in your uncle's world." The basement of the tenement building was a stark contrast to Dr. Sinclair's tidy office. It was a labyrinth of exposed pipes, hissing steam vents, and the damp, earthy smell of old brick and forgotten storage lockers. The light was dim, provided by sparse, dusty bulbs hanging from frayed cords. As Dr. Sinclair navigated the concrete corridors, he heard the faint, metallic clinking of someone rummaging through a pile of metal scraps. He turned a corner and saw an elderly man with wild white hair, dressed in a faded cardigan and oversized trousers. The man was bent over a cardboard box, his hands moving with surprising agility. This undoubtedly was Edgar Witherspoon. Nearby, another tenant, a weary-looking man named Mr. Pilchick, was carrying a bag of laundry. He paused, looking at the elderly man with a mixture of tolerance and mild annoyance. "Oh, thank you," Edgar said, not looking up from his box. "Thanks anyway, Mr. Pilchick. But I already found a brass thimble." Mr. Pilchick shook his head, muttering under his breath as he moved down the hallway, leaving Dr. Sinclair alone with the eccentric hoarder. Dr. Sinclair stepped forward, clearing his throat gently so as not to startle the old man. "You are not Mr. Pilchick," Edgar said.